Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio NFL Closing Time Show, Sunday, December 20th, our last show before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody out there. It's later this week. Hope you're making the best of it in these awkward, unique times that have been 2020. And I'm being polite when I use those words to describe this particular year. But nevertheless, here we go. NFL Week 15. Skee Profit and C-Mac, Connor Mac with me as always, ready to break down the card. Let's jump right into it. Rotation order, starting with the early games. Let's talk Texans Colts to begin with. We've got Indy about 7.5 point home favorites here, 51.5 the total in this game. Houston, what Houston team do you get? Because they obviously have battled for the most part since the coaching change. And they've kept themselves competitive in games with Deshaun Watson's MVP-like play this year until last week when all of a sudden the Chicago Bears just hammered them and the offense just really couldn't do anything after halftime last week in that game against Chicago. So what Texans team do you get? I know the veteran players on this team, Watson, they're talking about that was embarrassing last week. We can't finish our season that way. We have to come back out firing. I would think a division rival like the Colts, with so much to play for, maybe a little relish the role of playing spoiler. And I do get concerned a little bit with the injury report guys defensively. They've got a couple key cogs out on the defensive side of the football. That's worrisome. I mean, they've spent the whole week with Darius Leonard banged up. They've spent the whole week with DeForest Buckner's always questionable right up to game time, whether he's going to play. So there are some key injuries back there. I have a small bet on the Texans, a little bit bigger bet on this game up and over the total of 51 because I think the Colts against this Texans defense. Look, Chicago put a 37 spot on Houston last week. What could the Colts' balanced offense do in this game? You shudder to think. But I think the Texans can contribute as well. And I do worry about laying this many points in a division situation like this, division dog catching more than a touchdown. I'm going to buy into Houston saying they want to make amends for the embarrassment that was last week, but just a small bet because I'm not totally confident on it. Small on Houston, a little bit more strong on the over in this game for me. Let's start with you, Skee. What do you think here? Houston, Indy.
Well, first off, this is not a game that I have money on. This week, I didn't have as many games as probably the past couple of weeks, but I did play a couple of games this week. And on this one, I mean, it's very hard for me to get to the window with the Texans. They made Trubisky look good, and I think that's very hard to do. So, like you said, this Colts offense should roll, but I just don't trust them to put up very many points to stay in the game. And the last time they played, they didn't score in the second half, and they only put up 7 points or however many points it was last week. So I don't trust this Texans team to score without Will Fuller, and I think the Colts kind of figured out how to stop them in that last meeting. So if I had to play, I don't love laying the points, but it would be Colts, and I don't love the total.
I agree with you on the point that he misses Fuller. There's no question. I think it's all Deshaun Watson because he has made the likes of Steven Mitchell, Chad Hansen, and Kiki QT serviceable NFL receivers. And I don't think that's them. That's Watson, making them productive. I don't know how he's done it, but he's gotten good production from those guys. Now, the question is, and your point about them having bad second halves offensively is a good one because last week they didn't do anything second half. The Colts game, the first meeting, there was no points in the second half. I'm actually probably going to split that over up, and I think I'm just thinking of that now. I might split it up first half and full game. You might get the points flowing early because we saw that in the Colts-Texans game in the first meeting. There were tons of points in the first half, and then there was nothing almost in the second half. I think I might do that just as a little insurance policy in case it's deja vu all over again here. Connor, what do you think here? Houston, Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think in a divisional game, I wanted to go initially right away to the over, but usually the second game, it's in December. I'm leaning under. I didn't take it, but I love the points here with the Texans. I got a list like at least the last 5 games. A winner hasn't been more than 6. Just a couple weeks ago, they lost by 4, let alone the goal line fumble there. They won 24-20, but they're banged up. But I still want a touchdown with the Texans. I think, like you said, Lavano, that it's Watson. I think he can keep you in games. He's always kept me in games for the most part. Even when they got blown out last week, but for the most part, he can keep you in a game. I'm going to take the points here with the Texans getting 7. So I'm on the Texans. I lean towards – I really don't lean anything because I think the number's spot on there at 52. At 52. No, I don't lean anything. So I think it's right on.
Yeah, awesome. All right, here we go. Detroit, Tennessee. Next game, we've got the Titans 9-point home favorites, 53.5 the total. This total has gotten played up, and it's gotten played up because Matt Stafford is really surprisingly going to play in this game with the rib injury. Again, with rib injuries, though, he took a shot last week against Green Bay. That's what got him hurt toward the end of the game, late in the fourth quarter. You could tell he was wincing on the sideline. He was in obvious pain. The question is, how effective is he going to be? He's going to be without Galladay, but that's not a surprise. He's been without Galladay for weeks now, and still been able to move the ball. I think the Lions offense, since Patricia was got out of there, and Darrell Bevell took over as the interim coach, he's winging the football all over the place. He's still making plays to, Marvin Jones has stepped up. Amendola has been good. Quintez Cephas has gotten more targets because of Galladay's absence. They're making plays for Stafford. The question is how healthy and how good is Stafford going to be today with that rib injury? This is one I talked about, breaking up the first, the over in the Colts game, guys, between first half and full game. That's what I've done in this game. I've broken up the full game over with the Tennessee Titans team total over, because I'm concerned Detroit doesn't do their share of the scoring. And in case that happens, because I'm fully confident we can get 35 at least from Tennessee in this game against this Detroit defense. Derrick Henry should run amok again. The Lions first of all, they're not a very talented defense to begin with. And then you look at all the guys they're without on the defensive side of the football. It's an ugly injury list for the Lions defensively. They've gotten shredded almost every single week. Tennessee should be able to do that here. Question is Stafford healthy enough to be productive for the Lions? I think he can, but in case he can't, what I've done is half on Tennessee team total over and half on this full game over at 50. I think I got it at 52.5. It's up to 53.5, but still would go in that direction. Skee, what do you think here with Detroit, Tennessee?
I agree that the Titans should be able to score. This Detroit run defense is pretty soft, and you have Derrick Henry back there, so I expect the Titans to score. The thing is, I just don't trust the Titans defense. And when you're laying over a touchdown, I need you to have some kind of defense. So I'll have to lean with the Lions. And the thing going for you, if you like overs, both teams are not good on third down, getting off the field. But I agree with you, Ian. I'm not sure how much I trust. Like, if the Titans get such a big lead, they're probably going to be fine just running and eating up the clock. And I don't know. I just think it's too many points. And if I had to play the total, I'll lean under. It's not a game that I got involved with.
Yeah, and you saw it last week against Green Bay. Detroit going down the field looking like they're going to punch in that late score in the fourth quarter. Definitely, first of all, Tennessee's defense isn't great to begin with when they're fully focused and locked in. What if they have that big lead and they just let Detroit waltz down the field? That defense certainly capable of doing that. Connor, what do you think here with the Lions and the Titans?
That's what I'm thinking too. I think I'm leaning the over here a little bit. I think there could be Titans could get a big, and their defense, like you guys talked about, it's been, against not subpar teams, their defense can look pretty good. Better teams, they can get shredded. I think the Titans do what they want here, so I'd lean the over. I'd lean Detroit. 9's a lot, but Stafford's banged up. I think he grits it out. He's playing. I like that. That's why I'm leaning the over, and I'd lean the 9 points. That's a lot. So I didn't take it, but I'd lean 9 there with Detroit.
I'm with you too on the side. I would only take Detroit. I took Detroit against Chicago, took Detroit against Green Bay. Now I needed the late score to get Detroit inside that number against Green Bay, much like Carolina last night and Detroit last week against Green Bay. They basically covered in the exact same fashion. The coach said, You know what, we'll kick the field goal instead of trying for the touchdown to save ourselves some time. The exact same method to cover as dogs against Green Bay 2 weeks in a row. Detroit last week, and then we saw Carolina last night. Matt Rule,
I was smiling.
Carolina last night. He cares. Yes, he does. I was not too bad a small bet on Carolina. Fortunately, I had more on the which fell short, but Carolina definitely. Thank you, Matt Rule. I could send you a Christmas card. I would.
I love him too. He came in for me too.
Yeah. Wow. Great. Hell yeah.
It was smart. Actually, it's a smart coaching decision because you want to leave yourself. If you kick the field goal, you're down 8, one-score game with the 2-point converted touchdown. You leave yourself time to get it. I think more coaches should do that instead of Anthony Lynn trying to run the football inside the 10-yard line with 30 seconds left and no timeouts, needing 2 scores. Talk about polar opposites of acumen in the brain. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I've just gotten to know Matt Rule. He came from college, and I know you guys do college a lot more than me, but the first week I wasn't sure. But after that, he kind of seemed like a good coach to me.
He's done you know what? It's been a rough go for Carolina. The defense needs work. They clearly have to upgrade the personnel on that defense of Carolina. But, all things considered, they battled. They haven't thrown in the towel. And I think they've got a good coach. And I think he's going to make them a playoff team in the next, next year perhaps. But certainly I think within 2 years, you're going to see Carolina a force again in the NFC. I do like what Rule's doing. He's got something building there for sure. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. We've got Tampa Bay 6.5-point road favorites, 49 the total. Yeah, I got a little bit on Tampa here, minus the 6. It's 6.5 now. I've got Tampa in a couple of teasers as well, down to about, pick them minus a half point. They should take care of business here. Like, we're seeing Matt Ryan, I think, give up in some of these games. Like, you're just seeing him you know what? Peace out, guys. I'm not interested anymore. Like, he's holding on to the ball too long. He's throwing bad, inaccurate throws. He's taking too many sacks, too many hits. That's a concern, especially concern against Tampa's defense, which I thought they played one of their best games of the season last week against Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. And guess what? Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins fit the same prototype. Statues in the quarterback. They can't move. They have no mobility. I think Tampa Bay could probably get after Matt Ryan pretty good here in this game. And Tampa Bay, it wasn't a crisp performance. It wasn't a sharp performance. That, 12-point win, I don't think it was as dominant as the final score would indicate. But the fact the defense played their best in weeks, it's the same kind of stagnant, slow foot quarterback that they're going to be facing here as they did last week. Another week now for Brady and the offense to have more rhythm with all these weapons he has against an Atlanta defense that, I think is shaky. We saw the Chargers move the ball pretty well against them last week. And they basically said, here, Chargers, take the game from us. We don't want it. That's a bother to me, the way Atlanta ended that game last week. So, again, not the best bargain, and everybody seems to be slamming Tampa, which is always a little concern you have. But to me, at least as long as this remains below a touchdown, I'd still look to Tampa. What do you think, Skee? Bucks, Falcons?
Well, you talked about the Bucks defense. I'm not as high or as much as a believer in them as you. I don't know. Their run defense is okay, even though they got ran all over in the first quarter. But as far as the season, their run defense has been okay. I don't trust them. Their pass defense, though, and if the Falcons can get it going through the air, I think they can hang in the game at home. I like the Falcons defense a little more than you as well. I think that, they play – you got to give Chargers some credit. Their offense is really good. We have a good quarterback, a lot of good players on the offensive end. It's just a matter of them having a good day, I guess. But they didn't put up as many points as they could, I thought, in that game. So, I like what I've seen from Atlanta's defense. And getting 6.5 at home versus Buccaneers team, I don't trust their defense. I don't think their defense is as good as people say they are. So I like the Falcons, but I more so like less points.
All right, liking the under in this game and the Falcons getting the 6.5. What do you think, Connor? Tampa Bay, Atlanta.
Yeah, this is one I kind of stayed off. I'm in agreement with you guys. I'd like to take the Falcons here. I need more than a touchdown. They just can't score. They just get down there. They just can't score touchdowns. It drives you nuts as a bettor. And like you said, Matt Ryan's kind of checked out. He threw that bad pick. That was horrible. In the game after their defense got a pick for him, to set him up.
Awful decision.
Yeah, just horrible. So this game, and I think the total's spot on. Both defenses, just to me, are average. Falcons have got better. And I'm like Skee. I never thought Tampa's D was that great anyways. So I didn't play anything here. I think the number's right now. It's a 50. I think it could go either way because the way Atlanta doesn't score, or Tampa could light it up, and maybe the Falcons get some touchdown and it goes over. But I'm on nothing here.
New England, Miami, we've got to pick them here pretty much in this game after Miami opened 2.5-point home favorites, 40.5 the total. I agree with the line move down in the under, with the total. It probably will be low scoring. Like, Miami's a whole hell of a lot of banged up offensively with their skill position group. The only running back they got back from injury from last week is Matt Breida. That's it. They're still without Myles Gaskin. He's still injured. Another running back is questionable as well. Matt Breida's back, but that's it. They're still very thin there. And it goes without saying, the wide receiving core it's just in tatters going into this game. No Devontae Parker for the Miami Dolphins. That's obviously trouble. One of the weapons Tua looks to. No Jakeem Grant. He's also out. And of course, Mike Gesicki, who has had an outstanding year at the tight end spot for the Miami Dolphins. So, and those are three of your most productive targets, in the passing game, whether it's been Tua or whether it's been Ryan Fitzpatrick this season for Miami. Regardless of the quarterback, those are the three guys that have brought home the bacon, so to speak, in the passing game, and you're basically without them in this game. That's trouble. Miami's defense, though, I think they can totally shut down New England. I mean, I'm not believing in this New England offense doing much today with Cam Newton, or I should say, reverted back to Scam Newton last week against the LA Rams. A terrible performance, got benched, and Jarrett Stidham had to come in and finish the game. I understand for the people that like New England. I know a few people that do. I understand it completely because Miami's got just so many injuries on offense. But this point spread, I can't take New England now and where the number is right now to pick them, because to me, Miami's still the overall better football team. And all things considered, if Miami was much healthier on offense, they'd be laying 5 or 6 in this game, not be a pick 'em like they are right now. There's been a huge reaction to all the injuries on offense. I'm not taking Miami either. It's a pass for me. But now with this deflated number, even with the injuries, I just don't like New England. I don't like the way they just rolled over against the Rams. Their season's over now. Can't make the playoffs. They're not mathematically up, but who's kidding who? They're not making the playoffs. Miami has a lot to play for still. So it's a lean to Miami, but I'm passing overall. And I lean to the under, but again, the number now has just moved too far down. What do you think, Ski, with New England, Miami?
I was trying to pull up the last second injury report, but I kind of got involved with this game anyway. But did you say Gesicki's out?
Gesicki's out, yes.
Okay. And I did see, I have him on my team, so I definitely know Parker is in, but he's not really healthy. And the running back, I mean, that's how you want to attack the Patriots. You want to run on them. I think the Patriots defense is kind of solid through the air, and the Patriots got embarrassed last week. Belichick versus a rookie quarterback, that's a side you want to be on. And I'm not as big on Tua as everybody else. I don't think he's going to have a great day today. I think Belichick has a game plan, and I like the Patriots to bounce back in this and get a W. So I'll take the Pats. And if I had to play the total, I don't see both teams doing a lot of offense through the air, so I'll check the under.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with you on the under. And obviously, I missed saying this, but a lot of people know it. We know Bill Belichick track record against rookie quarterbacks. I'm sure people have heard that a bunch, but it's true. I mean, he's done very well against them, and obviously, that's the situation here facing Tua Tagovailoa. What do you think here, Connor, with Patriots Dolphins?
Yeah, you guys nailed it with Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. But the number's down. They're banged up. Both teams are banged up. They're both not playing well. But I like Miami here in a pick 'em because, like you said, I think they'd probably be 3 or 4, just a few weeks ago easily. I'm on the under as well, but it's too low now. I liked it at 43.5. I didn't get it down to 39.5, 40.5. I still think it goes under, but I'm not going to bet it. But I'm on the Dolphins. New England's always struggled in Miami. So I just think that Miami sneaks by, and I think it's a low-scoring one. So I don't got to lay anything, so I like it at a pick 'em. I'll go with the Dolphins here.
All right, so leaning with the Dolphins here in this one. Seattle and Washington, the just surging Washington football team right now. Seattle 6-point road favorite, 6.5 in some spots, 44 being the total in this game. This is a good game in terms of I could make a case for both teams, but I can't make a case strong enough for Washington with Dwayne Haskins at quarterback. That is my bone of contention here, because I want to take Washington plus the points. I believe this is a little bit inflated and padded towards Seattle because of Alex Smith being out. But I have seen more than enough of Dwayne Haskins now in his NFL career that I can't put money on this guy right now. Until I see progress in him as a quarterback, a competent NFL quarterback, I can't do it. He's wayward with his throws. He's inaccurate as can be. He doesn't have any pocket presence whatsoever. Once the rush gets there, he's basically dead meat. That's an issue. And that's so shocking because he's a mobile, athletic guy. And unfortunately, he's still a lot of times unable to get away from the pass. It's almost like he panics, he flinches. And that's a problem. I I love everything else right now about the Washington team. They're playing hard. They've got these great stories, comeback stories. Alex Smith nearly couldn't play football again, comes back. Ron Rivera came back fighting cancer, came back to the sideline, and now look at what this team is doing. I mean, it's a great, great story. Just don't have faith in their quarterback, and their defense has been really good. And suddenly Seattle's offense, well, before playing the hapless Jets last week where they put a 40-burger on them, but prior to that, the Seattle offense had leveled off a little bit, not quite showing you that explosiveness and light up the scoreboard ways of theirs that they did early in the season. So maybe Washington's defense can hang in there. I just can't take Washington with Haskins. I don't necessarily love laying a little bit of a pricey number on the road here with Seattle, 6.5 here in this game. And he's facing a really good Washington defense. You got to admit how good they've played the last few weeks. Shut down Pittsburgh, totally made Nick Mullins look foolish last week in that win against San Francisco. It is a really, really good defense right now. So for that reason, I lean under the total in this game here, 44. I mean, you don't think of Seattle as an under team most of the season, but their offense is leveled off. Their defense is better with Dunlap. Their secondary is as healthy as it's been all season long. I don't think Washington's moving the ball and lighting up the scoreboard with Haskins, but I think Washington's defense can contain Wilson and the Seahawks a little bit. So under the total makes sense to me in this one. Skee, what do you think here with Seattle, Washington?
I know most people like the Seahawks, and I just can't, like I told you, I don't think their defense is that great. And I don't like to lay that many points with teams if I don't trust their defense. So I think Washington's D-line is really good, and that's exactly what you need when you play against the Seahawks. That's why they struggle against the Rams every time. So I think Washington at home, I mean, I try to make a case. Haskins, he probably had a full week of reps. He probably looked better than he looked before. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Rivera versus Pete Carroll, I think Rivera usually wins. So I'll take the home dog to stay within a touchdown.
All right, like in Washington, I agree. The value's on their side. This is going to be the ultimate test right now of Scott Turner, the offensive coordinator for the Washington football team. Coach him up. What can he do with Dwayne Haskins with a full week of practice? Can he coach this guy up and get something out of him? We're going to find out today.
And I did agree with you. I think we see less points in this game.
The under, yeah, I definitely like this under. Like I say, I'm not a big under guy, but there's a couple that stand out. The New England game, this one as well. What do you think, Connor? Seahawks, Washington football team.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think this is a low-scoring game as well. I like what the Redskins are doing. Yeah, I'm with Skee. I'm taking the Skins here. I just don't like Seattle. That many points on the road. Just think it's too much. Almost at a touchdown. I'm holding the nose a little bit with Haskins. It's true. I'm taking a little shot, but I'm hoping keep it tight. He doesn't make too big of mistakes here. Because that's he needs to be like Alex Smith out there. Don't try not to turn it over as much.
Yep.
Just get his job done. I think this hopefully will be tight because if he doesn't, it could be bad. But I'm on the Skins as well. Plus the 6.5 and the under.
You only say skins when you're talking potato skins.
Oh, sorry.
And
shit. Football team, baby. Football team.
Yeah. That's all right.
It's so ingrained your whole life,
Yeah. I know. Washington, WFT. Washington football team. You know what I like, though, about Haskins? I don't think he's going to throw the ball too well today, but I rolled the dice here on the touchdown prop for Dwayne Haskins, plus 1,000, all right, 10-1 to score a touchdown. Goal line situations, he's got enough running ability and athleticism to keep the football, maybe sneak in like a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady type goal line plunge at the 1-yard line. Maybe you could see that, and Antonio Gibson's out at running back again for Washington. Not that, so it's not that anything against J.D. McKissick, who's capable, but I could see Dwayne Haskins being a running component today for Washington. So I think that's worth the shot at the price you're getting, in my opinion, the 10-1 there with Dwayne Haskins to score a touchdown in this game. So we'll see if that long shot comes through there. We got Chicago and Minnesota. We've got the Minnesota Vikings 2.5. 3-point home favorites, 46.5, 47 the total, depending on where you look. I still stand by the premise, even though it was just a sickening loss last week with Houston, Chicago over the total. that Chicago's an over team right now, just because they're playing fast, like the pace. Every time they get a first down now, they're getting to the line of scrimmage quickly and snapping the ball quickly. That's going to continue. It's breathed some life into Mitch Trubisky in this offense. And the Bears' offense is capable against bad defenses. We've seen it now. Detroit, Houston, since the last couple of weeks, since they brought Trubisky back as the starting quarterback, they've had great offensive performances. Minnesota, are they really that much better of a defense right now than Houston or Detroit? Not much. Not much. This is not a good Minnesota defense this season for Mike Zimmer. It was in the past. Not this year. I think Chicago moves the ball, but so does Minnesota, I think, with Cousins, Cook. I know the Bears' run defense has good overall season numbers, not so good in the interim, in the shorter term. And Kirk Cousins, and this secondary, by the way, for the Bears, 2 starters could be out in that secondary for Chicago. So Thielen, Justin Jefferson, maybe Irv Smith, the tight end, who's really getting a lot more targets from Kirk Cousins in the passing game, could have big days offensively in the passing game against this depleted and struggling, quite frankly, Chicago secondary. So over the total, weather, no issues indoors in Minnesota, over 46.5 for me with the Bears and Vikings. A lot of love, by the way, to Chicago. This opened 6. It's down to 3, 2.5. I think it's too much love now on Chicago, but I didn't take Minnesota even at the better number. What do you think, Skee, with this NFC North battle?
And Kendricks is still out, right? Or
and Eric Kendricks, yes, he last I checked, he was not coming back this week.
Okay. I got involved in this game a little bit earlier, and I'm not a believer in the Vikings. Really, the defense. I think the defense is very poor, and Chicago kind of got it going. They got a little boost, if you want to say that, from Trubisky. They got something on the run game from Montgomery. So if they can continue to run, I mean, this is a defense that they can continue to do both against. And I think it's more of a 50-50 game, or I think the Bears, I should be more of like a pick 'em. So I took the Bears on the money line. I took it plus 140. And I think at that number, you only need like a 41, maybe 41.5% chance to win. And like I said, I think it's more of like 50 or more. So I like the Bears to win.
And I do. And if you like Chicago in this game, one of the points you can make toward liking them is the fact that, oh, by the way, Adoree Jackson's finally playing today for the Titans. He's warming up on the field. There you go. I see him in the warm-up. So there you go. We'll see if he can do anything to help this Tennessee Titans secondary out a little. It certainly can only help with what we've seen their past. Yeah, it's about time. Where you been for the last year or two even for this Tennessee team? But yeah, if you like Chicago, another point you want to make, I think, to bolster your case is that where's Minnesota's head at after the loss to Tampa last week, then essentially knocked them out of playoff contention? Do they really rally the troops here and bounce back strong after that loss to Tampa Bay? Frustrating loss because they actually played tough. Probably had a chance to win the game if Dan Bailey didn't sabotage things with just horrendous kicking and missing all kinds of field goals and extra points throughout that game. So you worry about where Minnesota, bouncing back in a game like this. But that's why, for the side perspective, I was conflicted. But I do like over the total here in this one. Yes, Eric Kendricks is out for sure. Kyle Rudolph is out, by the way, for the Vikings at tight end. But I don't mind. Irv Smith has been pretty good, in that backup tight end role. He scored a touchdown last week. I think he'll be fine. Replacing him. Connor, what do you think, Chicago, Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I like the over here. I think it's in the dome. I know I talked about, December, you see a team twice, but the Bears are a bit different. That first game was so ugly, that 19-13 win. I don't know if I think it was Sunday or Monday Night Football. I think the Bears, Trubisky, whether it's good or bad, he throws touchdowns or picks. It's points. I think, and Cousins can do the same. So I think, and both defenses, I don't think the Bears all year have been that good. They did all right last week. Minnesota's not been good. And I know the whole public's kind of on the Bears here in this spot. I lean them as well. Like if I was Skee, I'll take a small shot on that money line. I won't even take the 3, but that's my lean over the Bears.
And another thing I looked at too, guys, is Minnesota at home this year. You look at these games, 6-0-1 to the over. Total points scored, 77 against Green Bay, 61 against Tennessee, 63 with Atlanta, 54 with Detroit, 59 with Dallas, 55 with Carolina, 51 with Jacksonville a couple weeks ago. I mean, these games are all getting into the 50s, for crying out loud, for these Minnesota home games. So Give me another game in the 50s here today. I'll be very happy. Go ahead, Skee.
I just want to share this little stat. It's not a very large sample size, but I was just looking up playing with little stuff. And since 2014, between weeks 14 and 17, it's two teams that have the same win percentage. Just like this game, it's a division game with a line less than 3. And you're looking at the road dog. They're 7-2 against the spread and 7-2 straight up. So I think if you like it, you take the money line.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Because of the straight up record. Exactly. Because then, if the ATS and straight up records match when you're betting an underdog, you should already be sprinkling something on the money line with every underdog you bet, but definitely maybe put a little more on the money line and just make the percentages a little more higher on the money line in a spot like that where it's 7-2 straight up. In addition, to 7-2 ATS. So that's an amazing stat too with this Minnesota overs at home. or the scoring at home for Minnesota, 6-0-1 to the over in their home games, and every game's gotten into the 50s. That's pretty surprising. So that's why when I first looked at this number, I'm like 46.5 with the way Minnesota's been going at home lately with these games, track meets, and just a lot of points. And hopefully we get more of the same here today with the Bears and Vikings. Next up, speaking of track meets, a little spoiler on what I like in this game. Jacksonville and Baltimore. Baltimore 12.5-point home favorites, 48.5 total. Here we go, another over for me here in this game. Look, Baltimore's secondary is ravaged. They had 3 guys in the secondary go down to injury Monday Night Football last week against Cleveland. And you could see it, guys, by the fourth quarter. That Ravens secondary and defense overall, they were just hanging on for dear life, hoping they could get the football last to be able to win the game. And sure enough, they did. And Justin Tucker kicked the game-winning field. But they weren't stopping Cleveland at all in the second half as the injuries are mounted. You've got to be concerned about the cornerback situation. Marlon Humphrey, it looks like he is going to play, but he's banged up. I don't think he's 100%. He certainly didn't look at it down the stretch last week. Jimmy Smith looks like he's going to miss this game in that secondary. I think it'll open up some stuff for Minshew. Gardner Minshew now back at the starting quarterback spot. This is an ailing Baltimore defense. You look at them now the last couple of games. They're giving up points. Tennessee moved the ball against them. Even against Dallas. I know they played well against the Cowboys, but Dalton and the Cowboys moved the ball pretty good at times.
Missed field goals, yeah.
And we know what Baker, obviously, and the Browns did on Monday Night Football. It was up and down the field, especially in the second half as the injuries mounted. So I think there's a pathway for Jacksonville to score 17, 21 points in this game against this depleted Baltimore defense. However, Baltimore is going to do a lot on offense against this Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville's got injuries too. We've talked about it. Cornerback injuries. Miles Jack's been out for a few weeks now. The linebacker, they're decimated. They have a bad run defense, slightly better pass defense, but not by much. Lamar can run it. Lamar can throw it. Lamar rushing yards over is probably worth a look. He scores a touchdown every week, it seems. Lamar touchdown prop is almost automatic now. At this point. So Baltimore probably gets themselves 31-35. You can get 14 plus out of Jacksonville. We go over the total, I think, here. Jags and Ravens. Skee, what do you think? Jacksonville, Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore off of a short week. And, damn, have the Jaguars lost like 12 straight, I think?
Yeah.
I think Baltimore is looking at this as kind of like a bye week. They just want to get in, get the win, and kind of get out. Jaguars run defense, 2 out of the last 3 games, giving up 200 plus yards on the ground. And we know the Ravens want to run the ball. I think they have Hollywood Brown out. Not that he's spectacular, but Ravens want to run the ball anyway. They had like 150 plus on the ground last week. And versus Jaguars defense, I think they'll get a lot more on the ground this week. So I'm not thrilled about laying the points with the Ravens, but that's the only way I would look. And I would probably lean towards less points just because I think they'll be running the ball.
All right, lean to the under. And that's the counter argument. That for the under to stay under, you could get a lot of running from Baltimore. But what if that running is like 40, 50-yard chunk plays from Lamar Jackson or J.K. Dobbins or Gus the Polar Bear Edwards? That's the thing.
Very true.
You're going to run a lot, but there could be some big gainers in the mix for Baltimore today where they, 40-yard run or 50-yard run, and suddenly you're in the red zone. So that's what I'm hoping for in this game because I think Baltimore's defense, again, with Minshew at quarterback, I think he can make some stuff work. James Robinson's been pretty solid all season at running back for the Jags. They can contribute as well offensively. Connor, what do you think here?
I like your over here. This is only one of the other games that I kind of like the over was this one. Because I watched these Baltimore games. Their defense hasn't been good. And the Jags have been able to move the ball the last few weeks. Skee could be right. This could be a weird one. They really control it, and it might stay under. But I like the over, and I'm with the Jags. I just think it's way too many at 13. Give me again another week. Give me the Jags. Give me the points.
I'll say I didn't get involved though.
Yeah, exactly. Just a lean of that. By the way, there's more than just,
I'm on it.
Calais Campbell's out again. He had just come back, and he's out now as well on defensive end. Marcus Peters, I can't believe I didn't mention him. Obviously, him and Marlon Humphrey, another guy out today. Marcus Peters in that cornerback spot for the Ravens. So it is dire with them defensively right now with the injuries. It is a cluster. And you know what I like about these overs? Yeah. I like betting these overs with the cluster injuries to a position group. And you have cluster injuries in the secondary right now. We're going to talk about another team in the late games, cluster injuries in the secondary. I think some of you might already know which team I'm talking about, but they play late in the 4:00 games. That's another over I've targeted. These are the overs I really like. These cluster injuries and multiple starters out, key guys out in one position group. That's where you feel the pain on defense when you have that kind of situation. We've got San Francisco, Dallas. San Francisco 3.5-point road favorites, 45.5, 46 the total. Even it's moved up a little to 3.5 from 3, but I still like the Niners here. I'd lay it. I mean, if you look at San Francisco, I know San Francisco's been frustrating. We've seen Nick Mullins look pretty bad at the quarterback spot, and granted that's a concern. But you talk about a step down in class. Have you seen the schedule for San Francisco since like October the 11th? Their last 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Miami, the Rams, the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, the Rams again, Buffalo, a surging Washington team. Dallas is a huge drop-off from all of those teams. It's not even close. And don't be fooled by Dallas. Oh, look at that. We got life with Dallas now. The big win against Cincinnati. Cincinnati has no more toes left to shoot. They shot themselves in the foot with turnovers. They gave the ball over and over to Dallas with short fields. Cincinnati actually outgained them for the football game, even though they got creamed. That's not a buy sign on Dallas, that game against Cincinnati. I don't think the Niners have mailed it in. They've tried. It's just been, they've had bad quarterback play the last couple of weeks. But there's a step down for Mullins. He's going against the weakest defense he's played in weeks. Just run the football to Mostert, Mullins. That's my advice to you. Just run the football, because this Dallas run defense is pathetic. They basically allow a running back to go 10 yards down the field before someone lays a finger on them. This should be a big day for Mostert. I like this over rushing yards prop, him to score a touchdown. This should be a game where Shanahan commits to the run, and as long as he does that, they should run amok on this Dallas team, just like every other team has so far this season. So, and again, big step down in class for San Francisco. I think the effort is still going to be there, even though obviously they're not going to be a playoff team. I'll lay the short number here with San Francisco. Skee, what's your thoughts here with 49ers and Cowboys?
My bad, I was on mute. But you made a lot of good points for the 49ers. It's not a game that I was involved on, but I mean, you think Mostert is gonna is he really that healthy? Is he gonna get a lot of carries? Or do you have faith in his backup as well, Wilson? That's what I'm concerned about. Either one of them should have a good day versus this Dallas run defense. Like you said, they're not good at tackling, and they just haven't been good all year. So if they commit to the run, I think they're successful. And this is one you kind of won me over while you're talking. So I'll go with you on the 49ers. It's not one that I got involved with early. But what do you think about that? Do you think that Wilson is going to be okay today? Or you think Mostert is going to have majority of the carries? You think he's healthy? And I only ask because, of course, it's my fantasy playoffs.
They're going to split the reps according to Shanahan. I'm looking. It's Wilson and Mostert are going to split the reps. Now he had an ankle injury, and that's always a concern with running backs. They say he can plant pretty well, plant his feet well. They say he looked good enough in practice that he can run without much detriment. So, and again, because Dallas can't stop or tackle against the run all season long, even if he's got some hindrance of some kind, he can still probably have a big day. But they're going to split the load with Wilson and Mostert. I still think they get the job done here. And you have to talk about a coaching advantage, too. I mean, Shanahan against McCarthy, I think that's a little bit of a mismatch as well, if you ask me. Connor, what do you think here, San Fran and Dallas?
All right, I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to be with the Cowboys here. Yeah. I think it's gotten to 4 now.
It is, yeah.
I think
Now
it's too much. I want the Cowboys in the points, which is crazy. They can't tackle, but I think Mullins could make mistakes just as much as Dalton. It's a weird one. I think this one could maybe stay under, or could, some scoring could be done. But I think it's a little bit tighter this game, and I'd rather take. This is like the Cowboys maybe win a game like they did last week, but I don't know. They win one weird here late in the year. I don't know. San Fran is the better team, but they're probably pissed off at all the years gone. It's been so bad with injuries, everything like that. I just don't love laying that 4 with them on the road. I think it's just too many. So I'm going with the Cowboys. I'd lean under, but I have nothing on the total.
Yeah, I think Dallas's offense, I think, could struggle today because the Niners' defense, Robert Saleh, who I think is a great defensive coordinator, he's going to get a head coaching job maybe as early as next season. I think he'll have that group ready. And you look at Dallas against some defenses that are at good defensive lines, essentially. And San Francisco does have that. 17 and 16 points the last couple of games against good defenses, Baltimore and Washington for this Dallas team. So I don't know if they're going to move the football in bunches today in this one.
Zeke's going to run wild. Zeke's going to run
wild.
I
think that think about why San Francisco is being bet, Connor.
He's out.
And I think people are reacting to
Doesn't
that.
matter.
And I don't think you should be reacting. You should be betting San Francisco because you think they're the flat out better team with the better coach. And I think they are.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be betting San Francisco because Zeke is out. Zeke has been a mess this year. He hasn't been running well. He's been fumbling left and right, fumbleitis for this guy. That's his disease. It's not COVID. It's fumbleitis. That's his disease.
I agree. Yeah.
And Tony Pollard is capable, he is running back spot.
He's done well. That's what I was about to say. He's been getting more touches anyway, especially the last few weeks. So
you're barking up the wrong tree.
Cowboys.
The only reason you're betting San Fran here is because Zeke is out, and you think, wow, what a huge loss. No, it's not a huge loss. He's sucked this year. I'm not scared to admit that. He's been terrible. So it's not that big of a deal. Jets and Rams. Rams 17-point home favorites, 44.5 the total. I'm going to just say pass. I don't want any part of this game. It's too many to lay with the Rams in a potential dead spot, but I don't want the Jets. Same with the total. It could be like 40-6 like last week, 40-3, I should say, and it comes right close to that total. It may barely go over, may barely stay under. Easy pass for me, Ski. Anything for you, Jets and Rams?
The only way I can look at this game is, like you said, too many points to lay with the Rams, and I definitely do not want the Jets. But if I have to take it right now, I probably would still take the Rams, but I'm not going to take it at that. But if I'm playing this one, it has to be under, simply because the Rams defense is, I think, number 1 in the NFL, and I think the Jets are probably the worst offense. So I don't expect very many points, if any, from the Jets. And the Rams could get a lead and just take it out of Goff's hands. They could just start running the ball. So I like the under in this game.
All right, I like that. From Alex Ramirez in the chat, talking about Zeke Elliott, fumble 19. There you go. Yeah, the new virus that's infecting the Cowboys this year. Him and fumble 19 from Zeke Elliott. Connor, what do you think here? Jets and Rams.
Yeah, this is one I might play later. I'm with you, Ski. I think I like the under in this game. I don't want either side as well. Now, as much as I'd like to take the Jets and the points here, it could be like last week, 40-3. I got whipped. I took the Jets. Or it could be like 23-7, and they could cover when the Rams go in and just get in and get out, like we were talking about. The Rams is probably a sandwich game. I forget who they play. I don't have the schedule up next week, but it's probably a flat spot. They'll easily win. It's just by, how much here. So it's a game I got to stay off. As much as I want to take 17 points in the NFL is pretty crazy. When I start seeing that, my eyes get big. But the Jets, they did me wrong last week, and I got to lay off again.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Oh, by the way, the schedule, you mentioned it. The Jets next week, they've got at Seattle. So there you go. Huge game, that is. You worry about that. You do, even though you're playing the Jets. No question about that. We got Philly and Arizona, Eagles, Cardinals. Cardinals, 6.5-point home favorites, 49 the total. This is the game I referenced earlier in terms of cluster injuries in the secondary. The Eagles have it. It's bad. It's Rodney McLeod out, Darius Slay out. Is there any safeties left for this team going into this game? It's a bad way for this pass defense. And I was encouraged by what I saw out of Arizona's offense, which was really declining prior to last week against the Giants. But Murray looked healthy, much healthier than in past weeks. He was running the football successfully again. He was willing to run it. The passing game comes when he can run it. It makes it opens things up for the passing game as well. I think that bodes well for Arizona's offense and this really, really shorthanded Eagles secondary. The Eagles do have a pass rush, but when you got the mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray back there who can evade that pass rush, that's going to be big for Arizona. But I'm also going to drink, at least for 1 week, maybe I shouldn't be, but for 1 week, I'm going to drink the Jalen Hurts Kool-Aid and say, you know what? I saw energy. How do you go from giving up like 5-6 sacks a game with Carson Wentz? They didn't allow a single sack with Jalen Hurts at quarterback last week against the elite defense of the New Orleans Saints. You can't script that. And to me, that tells me that everybody's playing a little bit more locked in, focused, playing a little better, a little harder, executing better, and really trying for this guy because I think they think this is clearly it gave them a spark last week. And if you're going to have the success running the football and throwing it, that balance that Hurts showed last week against the Saints' caliber of defense, they should be able to do some damage here today. So from a side perspective, it's tough. I mean, I don't want to fade the Eagles now after the little signs of life we saw last week, but I don't want to take them either in case it's a blip. But I do have confidence in this game going over the total of 49. I think Arizona moves the ball. I think Philly moves the ball. And you talk about Minnesota home games going over the total. Let's look at Arizona home games the last few weeks. This has been another situation where it's just been one shootout after another for the Arizona Cardinals at home. The game against the Rams, 38-28, 66 points. The game at home to Buffalo, 62 points, the Hail Murray game. 65 points against Miami. They pulled that Miami team into a shootout on this field. 65 points, 71 points against Seattle. It's been one high-scoring bonanza after another here in Glendale for these Arizona home games. I think we get another one here today. What do you think, Skee, with this one, Philadelphia, Arizona?
I agree. The Eagles, they have a lot of people out in their secondary. And or at least last time I checked, they were supposed to have a lot of people out. And I got involved with this game a little bit earlier. And I like the game to go over, like you said. I think the Cardinals look good. They looked healthier last week. I think they'll have their way with this Eagles defense. Kyler Murray can get out of the pocket easily and run for it, sling it downfield, whatever he wants to do. And I agree with you also that I don't know if I've said this before on the show, but my thoughts have been that there are a lot of players on that team that just don't like Carson Wentz. And like, as soon as he came out the game, everybody's catching the ball. It's just, like you said, so much energy. So I think they're playing for Hurts, but at the same time, they didn't have any tape out on him. Now you get to see what he did in the game, and maybe you can game plan for that. So I look for the Cardinals. If I'm going to play a side, I have to like the Cardinals. That's a game that I got involved with on like a teaser early in the week. I paired them with New England, but I would probably like the Cardinals at the current spread as well, and I like the game to go over.
Yeah, I think part of it too, New Orleans, a flat spot for them. They were flat as a pancake for well over a half, New Orleans, in that game. Not to totally take anything away from Philadelphia, but I think that played a part last week. I'm kind of with you. I would think Arizona wins the game. The teaser is probably the safest way to go with Arizona here. Connor, what do you think? Eagles, Cardinals?
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable on this one. I mean, I'd actually maybe lean the other way, but I don't have enough. Everyone's on the over here in this one, it seems like. Just don't love it, something about it. And then, like Ian, you were talking about with the 6.5, Eagles played real well last week, but will that translate this week? And the Cardinals, just I haven't had a good read on them. They got out hot. They lost a bunch of games in a row. They didn't look good. I still think they got not a very good defense, and Kyler Murray can keep you in games. I really don't want to lay 6.5 with them. If it gets to 7, I might look at the Eagles. I might take that 7. So I'll wait here on this afternoon game. If it gets there, I might grab the Eagles.
All right, the game everyone's anticipating, potential Super Bowl preview, Kansas City, New Orleans. We've got Kansas City 3-point favorites on the road, 53 the total in this one. Drew Brees back, Michael Thomas not, though, for the Saints. So a little bit of good news, bad news for them. Kansas City's defense is, I don't know what, they're starting to sputter again, Kansas City's defense at the wrong time. I mean, Miami had a lot of success moving the ball against them last week. That's a concern for me. I lean Saints here. I mean, it is tough as hell in a -3 type price range where a win probably covers the number for you. to ever bet against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs in this kind of price range. But, Saints is a home underdog. They were just, not really into the game against the Eagles last week. I think they are. Breeze being back, though, first game after a while. Is he rusty? Is he sharp? Who knows? I lean Saints and I lean over. Small bets, but that's it. But more than anything, I'm looking forward to seeing this game. What do you think here? Chiefs, Saints. Could this be your Super Bowl?
If I repeat anything, I'm very sorry. But as soon as you said Chiefs and Saints, I immediately just have to go to the Saints schedule and just remind myself, just confirm what I'm thinking. And my thoughts are, the Saints defense is not that good. I mean, their numbers are good. They've been playing good, but they haven't played anybody. All the teams they playing were like losing teams. I'm going down the schedule. I'm not going to name everybody, but the best team they played was the Buccaneers. And I already told you I'm not even high on the Buccaneers and their defense. So I think the Saints defense is a little overvalued. And I think the Chiefs team has been looking bored, if anything. I don't think this is a game where they'll look bored. I think this is a game, where despite whatever the Saints defensive numbers say, they'll put up points. And I think it'll be up to the Saints to match them every time. And if it's going to be a game like that, I'm taking the Chiefs.
All right, there we go. For some reason, my mute and unmute was sticking there for a minute. But yeah, all right. So liking the Chiefs, and I'm on the other side, but not strongly. Like, it'll be a small play for me on New Orleans. But you make some points. I mean, they played Philly, they played Denver. Remember Denver with no quarterback? Well, they did, but it was a receiver playing quarterback. Yeah, they have had some weaker offenses. Let's see how they face against they did shut down Brady and the Bucks, but again, Brady and the Bucks offense has been they've been up and down. They've been inconsistent. So yeah, there's some points there to be made with that. Connor, what do you think here? Kansas City, New Orleans should be obviously a good game.
I think it'll be good. I'm on the Saints here. I just think at home getting 3, I'd rather have them. I think they get there, after that flat spot. Breeze is back. Skee's right, though. Those, especially the last 6 games, they haven't really played anybody. But it's just good to have your defensive playing better. Pat Mahomes is going to rip up anybody. When they're rolling, I don't give a shit who it is. So, but I think this game is close, and I know a lot of people are loving the over. I'm looking a little bit at the under. I haven't bet it yet. I was going to maybe wait till the last second. I haven't done it, but if I'd look under here just a little bit. We'll see.
All right, so a small lean as well to the under and the Saints. Before we get to Sunday Night Football, Browns, Giants, and Monday Night Football, let's get the best bets taken care of now in case you want to go with an early game for those. Connor, let's start with you. A best bet for the Sunday slate.
You guys go.
All right, Skee.
I don't have one.
I wanted to give you some plus money today, but I think it's changed favorites. Oh, man. All right, it's changed now. Patriots are now -1.5. So I want to give you plus money. I'm going to go with the Bears. I think they win the game. I told you a lot of reasons why. Plus 140 is what I got. Take them on the money line is what I say.
There you go. Not just the points, the money line will make it official. Plus 140 with the Chicago Bears for Skee's best bet. I'll let Connor have a second to decide his. I'll do mine for now. Let's do the Philadelphia. It is my best bet of the day for sure. Philadelphia, Arizona over 49. I think we get points. Again, Arizona's been a shootout machine and an over machine on their home field. I think we get more of the same there. So Eagles, Cardinals over 49 for the best bet. Other considerations were the Jaguars, Ravens over. I considered that as best bet as well. That's close to best bet material too, but I settled on Eagles, Cardinals over 49. Connor, what do you think for a best bet?
I had a few, but I'm going to stick with what we just talked about. Give me the Saints +3. I think they might win it outright, but I want the 3 at home. Give me the Saints.
All right, New Orleans +3 against Kansas City. Best bet for Connor. All right, on we go. Sunday Night Football. Cleveland, New York Giants. Cleveland 6.5-point road favorites, 44.5 the total. Cleveland's defense is struggling, but Colt McCoy in, Daniel Jones out. Although Daniel Jones wasn't 100%, you could tell that the injury was still bothering him. He wasn't good at all last week. It was like having a quarterback with only one leg out there, essentially, against Arizona last week. But Colt McCoy was dreadful against Seattle. Absolutely dreadful. Remember, then they won that game. They won it solely because of special teams and defense. Offense didn't do anything. Look, Baker Mayfield and the Browns offense is rolling right now. They're red hot. I think they score. I don't know if the Giants do. So I'm going to go team total. This is an exclusive bet through the team total route for me here on Cleveland. I think they'll get their points. Remember, Arizona's offense was struggling, and then they came to life last week against that Giants team. And I think Cleveland, with the way they're playing offensively right now, the last couple weeks, I've been impressed with what I've seen. You can get 26.5 with the Browns team total. So 26.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. 26.5.
Yeah, 26.5. That's I just don't know what the Giants are going to do offensively. I could see them scoring, so I lean full game over because it's only 44, but I just don't know if they will. I mean, they could also get held to like 6 or 7 points here as well in this game with Colt McCoy, who just didn't show me anything against Seattle in his last start. So I'm just going to go Browns team total here over 26.5. Skee, anything for you with Sunday Night Football, Browns Giants?
Wow. This is Sunday Night Football. Okay.
It's an important game. It's just I get what you say. Giants are a mediocre team, yet they can still win their division. The Browns still have obviously wild card to play for. Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I know. I was ready to break down the game, and then I just heard Sunday night, and it just reminded me. But
not the best one. I agree with you there.
The Giants. All right, I'll say this about the Browns. The Browns' run defense has not been good. They've been giving it up week after week.
Yeah.
And how did the Giants stay in the game? You don't have to trust Daniel Jones. You just have to run the ball. They've been running the ball, so I think that matches up pretty well. Giants run the ball. Browns been giving it up on the ground. I didn't bet this one yet, but the more I look at it, I like the Giants because I mean Giants as a dog has been good, even I think since last year, right? Or is it just this year? I'm just thinking of it now, but I like the Giants. They're getting what? Is it still 6.5?
6.5, yeah.
Yeah, I like the Giants. I'm probably locking this in right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've been good as underdogs. They've been better as road dogs, but yeah, even they're home dogs here, but still overall getting plus points. They've been solid. What do we get from McCoy's? So maybe they can run it. Maybe you look Wayne Gallman as well, because you're right. I think Wayne Gallman will be a focal point of this Giants offense tonight.
One more thing I want to say is Baker Mayfield looks good against bad defenses. I don't think the Giants defense is a bad defense. So for what it's worth, I think this game probably has less points.
Less points. All right, leaning under as well. That's the thing. The Giants looked so good on defense against Seattle. And then last week against Arizona, they looked pretty poor, actually. So which Giants defense is it going to be this week? All I know is it's 2 straight games that Cleveland offense has been humming like a machine. So I'm going to hope that's the case again tonight. But I'll tell you what, I would not be willing to lay 6.5 with Cleveland. Short week, emotional roller coaster, and a gutting loss against Baltimore and that thriller on Monday night. Now you got to play in a short week on the road. From a situational standpoint, it's not great for Cleveland coming into this game. What do you think, Connor? Browns, Giants?
Yeah, I like both here. I haven't gone on either. I'm waiting. I don't think it goes to 7. I don't think it goes to 6. So I'll just wait anyways till later today. But I'm with Skee here. I like the Giants.
If you want it.
Oh, do you? Where at?
BOL.
Okay. I like it. I like the Giants, and I like the under a bit here too. They've had like 5 straight unders. I just, the Browns got me. I don't know about the Browns. There's something, and I think Ian's a little right with the whole crazy game. I think it's just kind of a flat spot. I lean under. I like the points a little more if I can get that touchdown, and I lean the under here again with the Giants. Even last week, they didn't score. They gave up 26. They were it was bad, but that went under. So I lean the under and grab the points of the Giants.
All right, lean under and the Giants. All right, Monday Night Football to wrap up the show. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. The Steelers now up to 14 in this game, 40 the total. I actually jumped in on this earlier, so a good thing I did with where the numbers going. Like I don't do this in the NFL very often, lay double digits on the road. As soon as I heard Ryan Finley's at quarterback for Cincinnati, I said, sign me up. Pittsburgh, please. Minus 13.5. Look, for Pittsburgh, I would expect that they are not going to look past this team. They can't. They know they're in a funk right now for the first time this season. And I know people are criticizing them as the weakest undefeated team when they were undefeated this season. But I think this is a bounce back situation for Pittsburgh after losses to Washington and Buffalo in their last 2 games. Just run the football. Hopefully they can. I think they can get their run game going against this Bengals team, and they should be able to throw it all over the place. I know Ben in the passing game hasn't been great the last couple of weeks for this Steelers team, but this is the game I think they explode. The Bengals secondary is horrendous. They don't get a pass rush whatsoever. Lately, teams have been getting a pass rush on Ben. I don't think this team's going to get it. They shredded Cincinnati in the first meeting, 36-10 in Pittsburgh earlier this season. I don't think they take the Bengals lightly because of the fact they're off 2 losses in a row. And Ryan Finley is inept, folks. He can't be an NFL quarterback. He has not shown you any ability, none, zero, about being a quality NFL quarterback. He's a turnover machine. You can't get any sort of accuracy or down the field throwing the football. He's got a terrible offensive line, and he's probably going to make mistakes. And not only a terrible Bengals offensive line, but the Pittsburgh defensive front still very good, even in the 2 losses with Cam Hayward and company. Really, really stout up front. Stephon Tuitt. There's just a lot of guys that get after it on the defensive front from the Steelers. This could be a long night for Finley, long night for the Cincinnati offense, and it could get away from them. So for me, even at 14, I think if it gets above 14, maybe I'd pump the brakes a little. But for now, Pittsburgh for me, laying the points. I think it could get real ugly here for Cincinnati. Skee, what's your thoughts? Steelers, Bengals, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I agree. I got in early too, and I don't think it even mattered if Finley was there or not. As long as it's not Burrow, I don't really care. And the Steelers defense, I talk about laying these points with teams without a defense. The Steelers defense is a defense that I trust. I don't think we see very many points, if points at all, from the other side. So, and like you said, they're off 2 losses. So I think Steelers bounce back, and they don't give up more than 10 points, I'll say.
All right, there you go. They don't give up that Cincinnati team total under. Yeah, definitely maybe something you want to look at here in this game as well. I don't think they're getting on the scoreboard very much here in this one. Connor, what's your thoughts? Pittsburgh, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the under, Cincy's team total under. Both those, I think I'm going to get at it. This one. The Steelers, I think they get right. I don't want to lay the 14. I think they probably cover it. They haven't been good as a favorite. Every once in a while, they'll win one against the Jags, 27-3. This one could be it. I think they'll come back pissed. But that defense has it's not very sharp. Everyone was saying how great that defense early on in the year. I mean, I still think they're, a top 10 defense, but I don't know if they're that good. But, yeah, I'd go with the under and the Bengals team total under. Let me hit the ads here real quick. If you guys haven't downloaded, hit our app, Wolf Spreads. Get the games in. Well, you should have got them in. If not, you still got the 1 o'clock and the 5 o'clock. You got to take an underdog to win this week, but take a dog. Use your whole 2K on the Giants or something like that, the Saints. My pick, the Saints. There you go.
There you go.
And then you can win the week. And you win the week, you win a bunch of PSR merch. Pub Sports Radio Battle Royale. Put that in. You'll get right in. And then if you need another book, go to mybookie.ag. Hit in Pub Sports, promo code Pub Sports, 50% off credit and debit. And then you get a 100% deposit on Bitcoin. So you put in 1,000, they give you 1,000. So just mybookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports. And lastly, hit up bulksupplements.com. Hit up promo code Pub Sports. You get 10% off your order. Get jacked up for the fall, baby.
There you go. All
I like
right.
saying that at the end.
Support those sponsors. Exactly right. Pub Sports Radio on the air so we can give you these great shows. Speaking of great shows we hope to give you, we're going to firm up plans in the next couple of days for some NBA shows here on the channel with 3 of us. We're looking to do it, 3 days a week starting in January, probably just one day this week and a couple next week for the end of the year. And then we'll get rolling into a 3 days a week type NBA show starting in January. We'll have all the details announced, confirmed in the coming days. So looking forward to that. As NBA, we'll have a college basketball with Connor and I as well on the channel. So, and of course, we're going to continue NFL every Sunday right through the end of the season as well. So looking forward to it, doing more great shows. It's always fun to be on the air with you guys. Let's cash some tickets in the NFL, everybody. Have a great Sunday. Good luck with all of your wagers. Enjoy the games and good luck. For Skee Profit, Connor, Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Anybody have any last words before we end?
It's just been great doing a show with you guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone. Let's win. Let's have a Sunday, baby.
Tickets. Exactly right. Have a great NFL Sunday, everyone. Good luck with your plays. We'll be back next Sunday right here at noon Eastern for another edition of the NFL Closing Time Show. See you guys.